Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Coming up next on Speed, AMA Supercross Lights. Don't miss some of the hottest two-wheeled battles on the ground or in the air. AMA Supercross Lights from Anaheim, California. Coming up next on Speed. Working the third hour of the 44th annual Rolex 24 here at Daytona. On board the GT Class BMW. Being driven right now by Tom Milner out of Winchester, Virginia, sharing with Justin Marks, Gene Segal, Matthew Aldeheff, and Bill Auberlin. Oh! This is not rehearsed, folks. This is the ultimate reality show.
Not supposed to do that. Uh-oh, stalled it as well now.
Now, apparently, we're being told from some of the corners that these guys have a history. They've been leaning on each other a bit. You see young Tom, whose father, Tom Milner, runs Prototype Technology Group.
Front digging in there.
Big part of BMW's North American racing efforts. Looks like that left rear is deranged, as David might say.
Well, it looks a bit deranged. None of these cars like these off-track excursions. All the clearances are way too close for this sort of stuff.
Is that the other car there?
Ooh.
Oh, that's just 2 into 1.
Oh,
wow.
No
Yeah, I guess
deranged.
that left rear is.
Oh, that's that 1 and 2 complex. That is. That's very tricky.
From on board now, down into turn 1 at top speed before you hit the brakes.
That car passing him is definitely squeezing him way in, you can see, so he's trying to retaliate, leans on him there. Unfortunately, the road is about to change direction here and go from left to right, and he is going to get squeezed into the guardrail. Ooh.
It's a 22 Porsche in the hands of Lonnie Pechnik.
Ooh.
And that was a big hit.
Have you seen the size of Tom Milner's dad?
Yes.
I hope he doesn't see that video, otherwise, if I was Mr. Pechnik, I'd just keep going when it's my turn to get out of the car.
The whole wheel fell apart. The actual rim itself is
You heard the crewman shouting into the car. Boy, oh boy, he is down there in the West Horseshoe. That is about as far from the pits as you can get.
Yeah.
Now, the rules are if the car is inside the barriers, only the driver can do any work on the car. Once it's behind the barrier, as it appears to be there, the crew can go out and help get it repaired, or they'll tow it back to the pits. Excuse me, to the garage. We can't go to the pits with stranded cars.
That battle for the lead there is absolutely awesome between the 6 and the 89 car. Oh, this is going to be a full course caution.
Yep, this is down. Well, that's well off. That's actually outside of turn 6. And it looks like the whole rear at both the left and the right are down on the ground on the number 63 GT. While we have a moment and we wait what might be a yellow flag, we'd like to welcome a very special guest to the speed booth, the Grand Marshal of the 44th running of the Rolex 24, Mr. Benny Parsons, who, in addition to being a racing eminence and NASCAR champion, is a former teammate of our own David Hobbs. These guys raced BMWs on the roads. Welcome, Benny.
30 years, thank you very much, Bob. 30 years ago, Hobbs and I ran the 24 hours in the BMW.
We most certainly did, and from the battle of the BMWs, if you can see on the camera there, it's sort of gone to the battle of the Bulls now, I'm afraid. It's all gone wrong here.
Yes,
I remember Handsome Harry Gant once saying you maybe stood a little bit too close to too many tomato sandwiches, but obviously Hobbs is right there with you.
I said the battle of the Bulls. I wasn't pointing at Benny. That picture of us in the program, we look a bit different there, Benny, but that was good fun in 1976, except for the gas with the water in it.
Yes, in 1976, somehow water became involved with the fuel tanks down by the gas station. So when you went to the gas station to get fuel, you got partly water, partly fuel, and unluckily, we were one of the teams that had the water problem.
Well, now, a lot of NASCAR stars, open-wheel stars, guys who have not raced in endurance racing before, are getting their first taste. What was it like for you back then when you began doing this 24-hour road racing?
It was a great experience because it's something that I hadn't done before. So it was a terrific experience, and I couldn't have had better teachers than David, Brian Redmond, Peter Gregg, Fitzpatrick,
yeah, Tom Walkinshaw.
Yeah,
it was a good team.
And the Germans, their cars were so precise. We used to getting within a few hundredths of an inch in race cars. They were just right down. Everything was so precise.
And of course they won the race with the other car. Brian Redmond, Peter Gregg, John Fitzpatrick won the race. We came languishing in 10th.
So
seeing a problem on the racetrack. The 89 Daytona prototype is slowing, and now we get that full course caution. Benny, how do you like the job as Grand Marshal? What's that been like?
I tell you what, it's been great because David and I have spent, and Brian Redmond, we spent some time together with the Rolex people yesterday during lunch, David and Brian and I, and then Wednesday night, last night, we were at a dinner together. We were the entertainment, and see the 6 car on the pit road.
Sliding in there. Do the 6 and the 89 have contact? Because the 89's going slow as well.
Well, let's go to Calvin.
Well, the leader now is the number 6, driven by Mike Borkowski. They're doing a full service here, fuel and 4 tires. The word on the 89 car is that Empringham does have a puncher, so there may have been some contact there. He's just trying to get the car back to pit lane slowly without incurring any other damage. Looks routine on the Shank squad, just waiting on fuel before Mike takes it underway again. 89 is now in pit lane. David Empringham bringing it in. A little distance away from it. Try and call it from here. Gainesville car coming in behind him. A lot of activity here under full caution. Shouldn't be a full fuel load. Alex Figge was ready to jump in the car, but I don't see any driver change yet.
Steady on, Calvin. We don't want any above and beyond the call of duty action here.
The rescue crews have several stranded cars. We don't need to be picking up announcers.
They got the defibrillator ready.
They have done a driver change. Alex Figge behind the wheel. They're checking out the rear hub, so they may feel there's a problem here on the right rear corner. This may have been the problem in the first place, or this damage may have been happened since he drove the car back to pit lane.
Well, remember, that's the problem we had with the 23 Porsche Crawford, so maybe we're seeing a rash of those right rear half shaft problems. Meanwhile, the 12 is in and Brian is there.
Mario Haberfeld brings the Lowe's machine to a stop. Routine down here. It'll be 4 tires and fuel, and they will not do a driver change. So Haberfeld doing double duty out here. He's going to be tired when he gets out of this one.
The Lowe's crew go to work. Remember, this car was just delivered on December 30th. So
but it's got a fine crew there with Tom Anderson and John Dick as 2 of the ringleaders.
Calvin Fish.
89 is going behind the wall. Try and get a quick word here with Tyler Tadovic. Tyler, what's the problem, mate?
We think we lost the tripod. We're going to take it back to the garage, do a quick axle change to get back out here.
Okay, well, axle drive shaft issues seem to be the name of the day right now, guys.
Ooh, another long stop.
Bring me up to speed, guys. The GT23 that was on the pole and was so fast, I see he's back in the field. Did he have the same similar problem as 89?
Same problem, that right rear half shaft CV joint problem on the 23. Now the 72 car led the GT class for much of the early going. They had a problem with the right front corner, couldn't get the wheel off on a tire change. We're going to need to update that situation and see what they finally wound up doing with that car. That car is currently 6th in GT. Well, they may have fallen back to 7th. They started from pole in the hands of Wolf Hensler, and now they're dropping back.
Well, Pope's car, the number 36 car that we saw get duffed up, is now in 2nd spot in GT, just 7/10 of a second behind Sylvain Tremblay's car, the number 70. So
what's duffed up? Run. What is duffed up?
Duffed?
Yeah, what's that?
Set upon.
Set upon,
yeah.
Okay.
Assaulted.
Assaulted.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm understanding.
Oh boy, some things never change. The 19 of Memo Gidley takes over the overall lead as well as the lead in the Daytona prototype category. We'll take a break and return with more from the Rolex 24. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Here is IRL sensation and Rookie of the Year Danica Patrick. It has climbed into the number 2 Pontiac Crawford. She's sharing with Jan Lammers, Alan McNish, and former NASCAR Nextel Cup champion Rusty Wallace. As we welcome you back to our live speed coverage of the 44th annual Rolex 24. I'm Bob Varsha with David Hobbs. Leigh Diffey and Dorsey Schroeder will be relieving us in the near future. We're under our third full course caution, so we have wholesale driver changes. Now here's the height differential we're talking about. Look at the size of that seat bolster that needed to go into the car before, something under 5 foot tall Danica Patrick shares that seat with the 6'1", 6'2"-ish Rusty Wallace.
Yeah, Rusty's just got out, so as you can see, it's quite a palaver to change this seat around.
It's all part of the game when you go endurance racing. Well, that worked out fairly well, actually.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier, the new fuel regulations that call for much longer pit stops. That makes this a much less pressurized situation. Let's hear from her co-driver with Calvin.
And here, Rusty Wallace. Rusty, I know when you came into pit lane, you weren't sure you had to jump out of the car. It's a bit of a panic there, but how was your first hour behind the wheel?
It was okay. The car's pretty stable. I'm a little slow right now. I'm getting going. I just don't want to get it off the course. I've done that plenty this week so far. So I'm driving a nice conservative, but the thing we're having problems with, we completely lost the radio. And it's in and out, in and out. I got my spotter up there. I can barely hear him, and I can't hear nothing in here. And when I came down pit road, I said, well, look, I caught up with the pace car. I know I'm in the lead lap still. I know I caught the lead car. In a normal NASCAR race, I'd pit, so I just pit, you know, and that was what I needed to do. And but I still couldn't communicate that I did, so I didn't know if they wanted me to stay in for another stint or not. So I said, you want me out? And he said, yeah. So that's it.
Did you get in a rhythm there in the first hour? Started to feel better?
I got in a little bit of a rhythm there, yeah. We changed all the gear ratios, and I had to really figure it out. We got too high a gear coming out of the bus stop and too low gear if I go to second. So the race, we went to a 4-speed transmission instead of a 5-speed. And it's okay, but you really got to carry a lot of speed through the bus stop to even have a chance of going. And like I say, when I go down another gear, it's just too low. So it's a heck of a first learning experience. But I'll tell you one thing, one of the most aggravating things is when you can't communicate with your team. Right. And that is a tough deal.
All right, mate, good job nonetheless. Look forward to seeing you back behind the wheel.
Give me a couple cans and a string and see if I can get this communication going right now.
All right, mate, let's go down to Brian.
Calvin, the communication down here at Tafel Racing, there's plenty of it. They've been communicating back and forth about how to fix this right front. Robin Liddell brought this NEC Porsche in, and they're still struggling with the wheel studs on this right front. They had to fight to get the first right front tire off. Now they're trying to get a new one back on. Meanwhile, the 23, the Alex Joe Porsche Crawford, your pole sitter and early leader, is back on track. We've seen a lot of problems with right side suspension pieces here today. It's interesting. I think we'll probably see a lot more.
Boy, oh boy, that was a quick repair, but let's hope they don't have to do it more than once in the 24 hours. Mechanical
It was very quick.
Mechanical problems already kicking in, but that's all part of the game. We're going to take a break. David and I will be going off. Leigh Diffey and Dorsey Schroeder will be coming on. Maybe Grand Marshal Benny Parsons can stick around a little bit longer. Stand by for more live speed coverage from the Rolex 24.
It has been a meteoric rise, but she's certainly done the hard yards over the years, back in British Formula Ford, to Toyota Atlantics, etc., and enjoying her best career year to date in 2005. Welcome back to the Rolex 24, everyone. Leigh Diffey, Dorsey Schroeder with you, with our special guest, Benny Parsons. Thoughts so far? You enjoying it?
I am immensely. It's been terrific. And, you know, when they first started these Daytona prototypes, they only had a handful. But this year they started 32. What a tremendous field of cars, and the competition is very close, kind of like NASCAR and Nextel Cup racing.
For the people at home watching that right there, that video, what she was doing, Danica was hooking up an electronic drink tube to her helmet. You can push a button on the steering wheel, and that will do a little electric motor will give you some fluids.
Back to green we go, the end of our third full course caution. And it is the Playboy Uniden Daytona prototype that leads the way with Michael McDowell behind the wheel. Great year, great learning year for young Michael last year. And what a fabulous way to finish with victory in Mexico City. And Dors, I've been impressed with how cautious, you could say if you were to be general, how cautious everyone has been on restarts at the very first start.
I totally agree with you. There really hasn't had many yellows, and on top of that right now, we're looking at very cold or colder track temps. Sun's going down, cold tires. It takes longer to get them up to the pressure and temp.
on board with David Donahue, the Red Bull Brumos Porsche. Significant aerodynamic changes to this fab car.
Might be problems here. He's not running the speed he should. I mean, it's cold tires, but everybody's got cold tires right now.
Can you, how many compounds of tires? Is it just one compound?
Yeah, they've had 2 in the past. They're running 1, and they've had no tire trouble this year so far, you know, knock on wood. In the testing we've seen, we haven't had any issues with tires, so that's a good thing over a 24-hour period.
Second year for the Hoosiers too, and thumbs up from all round from everybody concerned. We ride with Danica Patrick on board the Callaway Golf. Daytona prototype, the Crawford with a Pontiac power plant. She runs 13th at the moment.
Was that the 58 Brumos Porsche he just blew by?
Yeah, there's something going on with the 58. It's not up to speed as much as it should be.
Well, there it comes back.
I think that's a different one, probably passed him on the top side. Ooh, watch it on this wall. You can get pinched into that wall. We've seen that over the years. Quite fast right there, and that's where the disparity between the 2 classes really shows. The GT cars really need to brake a lot earlier than these prototype cars.
Race leader, Michael McDowell. And a complete change from last year. Do you think that's been difficult to get used to, Dorse, as far as it was a BMW Riley last year? This year they've gone with the Crawford package.
You know, Michael's such a talent. I don't think the change in car makes much difference. We've seen him jump into Champ car and do really well right away. I think he's just so talented, a young man. The hardest thing with him was getting him calmed down.
Cal.
One of the questions with the 19 car running that Ford power plant was the fact they get better mileage, which means they have to go longer on the tires. How would the tires be at the end of their stint when they're running 10-15 minutes longer? Checked in with the team. They said that Mimo Gidley was really happy. He said, in fact, the car got better as the Ren went on, so that's really good news for that team.
Now, these cars can make it almost an hour and 20 minutes on fuel, where other people can just barely make an hour. And that's something like, I think Bob Varsha was saying, is almost a 20% change, and that's just huge to have over a 24-hour period. It just opens your window of opportunity.
That is huge. So is this is the Crawford chassis and a Ford engine?
Correct.
Yeah. And that Ford engine last year just came into notoriety, I should say, and they showed up and they were real fast on top end, and they make good mileage. It's good 2 combinations you like to have.
Let's not forget too that in the days, as you were mentioning, Benny, in the early days in 2003, the leaner days of Daytona prototypes, Ford won the Rolex 24 here in the class for Daytona prototypes at the hands of David Brabham and co. Scott Maxwell, David Empringham. So Ford kicked off the DP era with a victory. Can they do it again this year? We will see. Time to talk about this Sitco Riley. Dario Franchitti, Marino Franchitti, Kevin McGarity and Milka Duno, who was standing by with Brian Till.
Guys, you were talking about Danica Patrick earlier, but Danica has not done what this lady has done, and that is you've won in the Rolex Sports Car Series. I know you've driven here at the 24 before, but you've not seen this kind of traffic. How is it out there?
It's so difficult, this race, but I love the race. It's a so big challenge. It's so difficult, and so many good drivers, and it's a huge challenge. And I enjoyed so much the race. It was very difficult condition because the track is very slippery, and there are a lot of dust on the track, and it's so huge. On the thing you are with the tire, you say, oh my God, where I am going, because the car is going straight.
And good to be back with the Franchitti brothers as well.
Yes, of course, yes. I enjoy so much driving again with them.
Well, like I said, she has won in the Rolex Sports Car Series numerous times, twice at Homestead and once last year in Mont Tremblant. We'll see if they can do it today. Actually, tomorrow, guys.
Benny, she said that there's a lot of competition out there, and it's really hard driving. You got to be on top of your game.
How did you know that?
Translator.
I was wanting someone to translate. Where's she from?
I think she got excited then. Argentina.
Argentina.
She does.
Venezuela. Venezuela.
She does get very
close
excited.
to Argentina.
I should have known Sitco is owned by the Venezuelan government or something. So
that car is a little further down the order, 17th overall at the moment. And Marino Franchitti behind the wheel. Dario kicked it off. Now it's his younger brother's turn.
My sister-in-law's going to be really mad. She's from Venezuela, too. That's all right. Good out-braking maneuver there.
Marino Franchitti coming up on Danica Patrick. These two fought it out in the British Formula Ford Series back in 2000. They've known each other a long time. Their career has taken them on different paths, but brought them together here at the Rolex 24 at Daytona.
You know, one of the owners of this 2-car, the Howard boss, the Howard, did you realize that's the son of Richard Howard, who ran the Lowe's Motor Speedway for so long? Richard Howard's boy, yep.
We had talked earlier about different braking packages on these cars. There's endurance brake packages which have thick brake pads, really hard brake pads that last a long time, but they don't stop quite as well. Now we're getting down into a dusk type of night where the temperature's going to drop. You could go to a more aggressive pad now, a pad that will stop the car much quicker, wear quicker, but the coldness of the air will keep it alive longer.
How long does it take to change the brake pads on these vehicles?
These guys are quick. There's a couple different. We had a report earlier they've got a new brake pad installation system where they just take the brake pads and caliper as one piece, and they got a quick disconnect on the brake line, and they just plug a new one in. No bleeding required or anything. It's quite fast.
Wow.
Marino's really hustling that car at the moment. Danica's got a rear view mirror full. One of the things she's getting used to is the heavy traffic here.
And I don't care what anybody says. You saw that she's got a foot of spacer behind her made out of foam. It's hard. No matter how comfortable you try to be, nobody can be totally comfortable as you would in your own car.
Danica's, of course, used to traffic in the IRL IndyCar Series, but this is something altogether different.
There's tons of traffic out there, and I'm comfortable with that. It's you know what? It's a lot of fun to actually pass. And there's nobody in your ear saying inside, outside, and you know they're using their mirrors and you're using yours, and at least you hope. And it's a lot of fun. I feel like a race car driver again, in a way. You know, it's not like I don't on those ovals because it's a lot of work and it's not easy. You can't see each other, but it's nice to just do your own thing out there a little bit more.
You know, it's fun when you're driving against another driver of equal talent or someone you don't really know that well, and you're running for a long time, nose to tail like that. You get into traffic, and the guy in front of you that you're chasing down will do something really brilliant. He'll get by somebody, and you'll trap you, and you'll giggle and go, "Good job, jerk." You know? I mean, but that's fun of it. That's the fun of the whole thing. You learn and you appreciate the other drivers around you.
Benny, when in your career do you say I'm good in traffic? Because there comes a point where you're learning and then you master it. When does that occur? When did it occur for you?
It's a good question. I don't know. Probably it takes 6-7 years to get to the point that you feel comfortable working the traffic. In 1984 here in the Pepsi 400, when Richard won his 200th race, I caused the caution. Me and another guy caused the caution that Richard and Cale raced back to. As I was coming off the travel, I started about on the outside, and then it dawned on me, he doesn't realize I'm there. You know, uh-oh.
That's trouble. That's the 6.
Major dramas for the Great Million.
Early leading car, and they've pulled off into a safe zone, what they call safe zone, where the car can be hooked onto and towed away. Also means the driver is you know, he's warranted that thing is not going anywhere.
Mike Borkowski, who took over from Paul Tracy, who had an awesome opening stint. And this is frustrating stuff for the Mike Shank Racing organization. Calvin.
Initial reports down here, Lee, is the fact that the engine has just shut down. So Mike is now talking to the officials on what they can do, where the car is. They're going to try and sort this situation out. But bad news, this team was so excited running 1-2 in the early going. Now the drama is starting to happen.
There's the discussion at MSR. Mike Shank himself has raced this event. He's still got one car and it sits second at the moment, behind the Finlay Motorsports machine of Michael McDowell.
Now, Mike Borkowski is very, very experienced in these cars, and what's going on is that he's already gone through all the things that he might have tried, like the twin ignitions, twin fuel pumps, all of the things he would have already tried. If it's not working from there is a problem.
Let's talk 1 and 2. Here are your race leaders. There's less than half a second between these guys. Similar color schemes, but completely different teams and power plant and chassis combinations. Up front, it's the Ford Crawford of Michael McDowell, sitting in behind in the 660. And what a great performance from these guys thus far, with Justin Wilson, the lanky Englishman, hunting down fellow champ car driver. It was only 2 races he did last year.
He just dropped a wheel on the exit of that bus stop, and there's a big hole that will develop there. It will rip the front of your car. That's a big moment when you hit that.
Unlike AJ Allmendinger, Justin Wilson has done endurance sports car racing before. He's done Sebring, he's done Le Mans. He knows what it takes to get to the finish. And let's see how McDowell handles this pressure.
I don't know if they're both smart, and they are. They'll realize that there's no need to get into a push-shove match, not this time. It's not even close to thinking about going quick.
But Wilson was trying to pass this lead car. He tried to use that slow car coming off the bus stop, but as you said, Dorsey, hung that left front down on in that hole.
Well, we talk about all the egos of these different drivers that don't get to run against each other all the time. This is like IROC on steroids, you know? I mean, it's not 12 cars, it's 66 cars with guys from different makes that are champions.
One of the best things about this series is the diversity of chassis manufacturers, engine manufacturers. You've got a Ford leading a Lexus, a Pontiac in third, and a Porsche in fourth. The second place car is run by Mike Shank Racing, and the man himself is with Calvin.
He's right down here in discussion with the crew right now. We understand that the 60 car is going to be towed back. Mike, any idea what the issue is?
Seems like it's a drive shaft, something in the final drive. The gear stack seems okay, but it's like an axle or something.
Okay, just correct. That's the 6 guys. The problem. The 60 car running well. Justin Wilson behind the wheel. What sort of pace are you guys willing to run at this stage of the game, Mike?
We need to stay in the 47s to 46s is what we feel where it needs to be based on the pace from last year.
Any issues with the 60 car? Justin did have the off, ran it through the garage. He came in and cleaned the grill out. Everything okay?
Zero issue. The car's awesome right now. They're doing a great job.
As you can tell, a little bit of concern on Mike's face. They want to get that 6 car back in the action. They got a championship to win as well as a 24-hour race.
Well, what Mike Shank's talking about is that the gear stack is okay. That means that Mike Borkowski has run through the gearbox and all the gears are engaging, yet there's no forward drive, meaning he's lost an input shaft, a drive shaft, or an axle, or something like a clutch, a catastrophic failure. There's no drive to the wheel.
Benny Parsons, thank you very much for spending some time with us. Hope you enjoy the rest of the Rolex 24.
I'm sure I will.
You off to judge some chili or make some chili?
I'm off to judge some chili. I'm not a consumer. I'm a manufacturer when it comes to eating.
You're a day early. They ate all mine just the other night.
Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of the 24 hours.
Thanks, fellas. Good luck.
See you, Ben.
And the race up front continues to intensify. Michael McDowell leading Justin Wilson. Time for a quick break. We will be back in just a moment.
Alex Barron,
Michael McDowell, Mamo Gidley.
The trio that drive the Playboy Uniden racing car for Finlay Motorsports, Barron, Gidley and McDowell. And Michael McDowell has lost the lead of the Rolex 24 to this car here, the 60 Mike Shank racing machine with Justin Wilson, former Formula One driver, F3000 champion, and now a Champ Car regular, leads this race. And let's take a look at how the Englishman did it. The 10th lead change of the race, 4th different leader.
Justin Wilson's been hounding for a while. He got a good run off of NASCAR turn 2, moved his car to the inside. But watch this, not to give up easy. They're in the brake zone and they're in there deep, right to the last minute. But it meant clean, and that's what you have to do. I mean, you don't give it up easy, but you give it up when you need to.
So Justin's at the top of the tree from Michael McDowell. Then you've got Patrick Hulsman in the only Porsche-powered Doran who runs third for RX.com Synergy Racing. Then it's Wayne Taylor. Then Harrison Briggs for the Feeds the Needs 77 Doran Racing Ford Doran. And then Mario Haberfeld behind those guys. David Donahue in the Red Bull Brumos car. And then the 4 of Tony Stewart, Andy Wallace and Butch Leitzinger. Butch is behind the wheel, and the 4, there it is, the 3rd car in shot. Ever so steady and methodically, it's making its way through this field.
They have struggled all weekend trying to get a balance on that car. They've just had niggling little problems. Problems with the power steering, problems with alternators, and they haven't had that much time on the racetrack. So right now, it's the best it's run all weekend.
Hey, Carl, that Howard Boss Motorsports 4 is doing a fine job.
Doing a great job there with Butch behind the wheel. Just checked in with Max Crawford. I said, how's it going? He said, so far so good. He said, the car's a little bit loose right now. And I said, how's that going to affect things when it goes to the cool night air? And he said, actually, it'll be perfect. He said, the car's typically loose in the heat of the day here, and it'll go to more of an understeer condition, so it should balance out nicely. So I think these guys are asleep. We expect them to be a bit more to the forefront in qualifying. They had their struggles, as you mentioned, Dorsey. But right now, things are gradually coming back their way, and we know that Tony Stewart will certainly get the job done when he jumps in next.
And of course, when a car is loose, it wants to spin out. The back end wants to come around and swap ends with the front. Now, when it cools down, this racetrack loses grip. And primarily what that makes it do is the front tires won't get the grip they have right now. It won't turn in as well, and it will balance that car out, making it yet quicker. In theory.
We were speaking with Catherine Crawford, daughter of Max and Jan, who was running this car this weekend. And then we said, well, you've got all your bad luck out of the way before the race this year. Maybe that's a good sign.
Well, she said she was a little bit miffed about the car. It wasn't behaving right. So she took her headset kind of like Ganassi does and gave it a toss. And her mother said, no, you can't do that.
She roused on it, didn't she?
Yeah, she said, no, that's not tolerable here.
Look at the traffic heading into the bus stop. And this is where they have to be so
that glow in
careful.
the dark Porsche almost just caused a wreck again.
The Samax Porsche right in front of the Fernandez-Lowe's racing machine. Mario Haberfeld did a good job to avoid contact there. Here comes Butch Leitzinger.
Yeah, Butch got a better run off of that carousel, out of that little bus stop. He got a good run there. But look at this. He doesn't look to have any engine. I mean, he just should have been able to pull right to the outside, but it's not happening at all.
Coming into this race, the top 13 cars were separated by just 1 second at qualifying. There are 13 cars on the lead lap.
Now, we also, while we were talking to Jan Crawford, she was also a little bit miffed about the fact that they've been running their engine very conservative. They've taken a little fuel, a little timing out of it. Max wants it to be there tomorrow. That might be what we're looking at right now, why it's not quite as good on top end. It might just be tuned down a bit to get there to tomorrow when the race can be won.
Here's the RX.com Porsche Doran. Patrick Hulsman, who's paired with the Frizzell brothers, Brian and Bert. They were a little down on themselves that they didn't qualify better, but at the moment, it doesn't matter because this car is running very strongly in third position, and they were quietly confident of what they could do in this Rolex 24 at Daytona. Cal.
Well, down here with the fourth driver on that squad, Lee, and as a late addition, Clint Field. About 5 years ago, mate, you were one of the youngest guys to run here. You got a bit more experience now under your belt, several championships. But talk about what it's like to come in here very late. I understand you've only got a handful of laps under your belt this weekend. Do you feel more pressure?
Not really. You know, I mean, once you get a few laps under your belt, you're fine, I think. I mean, the biggest thing for me was getting used to the car and getting used to all the traffic because there's a lot of GT cars out there and a lot of cars that are the same speed. But, you know, once you've been in one of these cars, you're pretty well set.
A lot of talk this weekend about the power that the Porsche is putting out this year, and certainly now they've gotten some different chassis, really showing their true potential. Running around just a few laps you had, did you have a good feel for what the power's like compared with the other competitors out there?
Yeah, I mean, the Porsche's really got some good top-end power, and, you know, around here, I think that's what you need. But, you know, I mean, the car's really good. I really don't think we've had enough laps to show what the car can really do. The Doran's really strong, and the Porsche puts out good power. So reliability is a key issue, and I think that the Porsche has that also.
That's for sure. Meanwhile, let's go down to Brian.
Guys, the fourth place GT car, the number 65 Pontiac GTO-R, has come to a stop. Mark Bunting out, Johnny O'Connell getting in, but there is a problem. He stopped short. They went ahead and raised the car up on the jacks. They're doing a tire change, but the fuel man cannot get the hose in the back. Mark Bunting stopped too quickly. They're going to go ahead and change the tires and do the driver change, but they're going to have to lower this car down, push it forward to get it refueled. A very costly mistake. Remember, this Pontiac made its debut at Daytona last year, not at the 24, but halfway through the season, and not a very good debut it was. They had contact with Scott Pruitt out at the bus stop, and the car didn't finish running well here today, but this is going to be a costly mistake. Tires are on, Johnny O'Connell is in the seat, but now they're going to have to begin the fueling.
That is going to cost them some time, Brian, but I don't know what a competitor is.
Easy, Dorsey, otherwise I'll start picking on you.
Look at this, would you?
There was a confliction there, man.
Yes. Well, I get him. I'm going to write that one down.
Don't hit this car.
Litigation consultation.
And for Kevin Buckler and his TRG crew, what a massive weekend running these two Pontiac GTOs. Not these two very cars, but the car has won the Bathurst 24-hour twice. The only two Bathurst 24 hours that occurred. Of course, that car is badged to Holden Monaro in Australia and did very, very well down there. Can it do the same here? We'll find out tomorrow. The battle against the Porsches in GT, the mighty battle between the Pontiac GTO and the Porsches. Wilson is your new race leader. February 10th, NASCAR is back with Speed Weeks on Speed. 10 days, 70 hours, and more coverage than ever before, from a tribute to the legendary Dale Earnhardt to the season opener of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, plus the premiere of the ultimate NASCAR pre-race show, NASCAR Race Day. It's a 10-day blowout leading up to the biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500, Speed Weeks on Speed, and it begins February 10 at 2 p.m. live here on Speed. Welcome back to the Rolex 24, your race leader, Justin Wilson, for Mike Shank Racing in the Lexus Riley. And what a potent combination this has been throughout the sprint format of the 3 previous years in the Rolex Sports Car Series, but can it crack it here at the big one? Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Leigh Diffey, Dorsey Schroeder, Brian Till, Calvin Fish, Chris Neville and Andrew Marriott with you. And we have so many stars in this field. And take a look at the NASCAR drivers we have in this 66 car lineup today. It is a stunning lineup, and Calvin Fish is with one of them right now.
Indeed, Bobby Labonte, you're almost a veteran now, mate, by NASCAR standards. You've got a handful of these starts behind you. Does it get more comfortable the more you do?
I think so. I'll know here in a little bit, but so far it's been pretty good. You know, we've run some practice Thursday. I didn't get in the car yesterday, and but you know they're doing a good job. Doug's doing a really good job, and Howard's doing a great job, and then hopefully I go out there and just make some laps.
Running with the Spirit of Daytona car this year, the 09 machine. Crawford chassis, you ran the Kevin Durant chassis last year. Do you notice any difference there?
Well, there is a little bit, but, you know, there's also a difference in, you know, the team. You know, I mean, we've got a different program here than we did over there last year. You know, Kevin's experience that, you know, he was able to feed into me last year was, you know, second to none, and it was a good experience for me, you know, to have somebody, a veteran like that, to work with. So that helped Terry and I both out, and you know, look forward to hoping that we can adapt a little bit to this as we go.
There's talk of you maybe getting a bit more involved in terms of the team itself. Has that happened yet? Can you make any announcements?
Probably hadn't happened much yet. I speak up a little bit, but I probably don't need to be speaking up too much. I probably speak the wrong thing. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to help out. You know, trying to be a part of a team that we can obviously grow. The guys here are great to work with, Troy and his wife Michelle and everybody here. But you know, obviously we're just trying to make it you know, better and better as we go.
Mate, hopefully we'll see a lot more of you.
Okay, yeah, thanks a lot.
And that car, the 09 Spirit of Daytona, sits in 15th place at the moment, and Troy Fliss, who runs that team, well, he did speak up yesterday. He mentioned to me that Bobby has taken a financial interest in the Spirit of Daytona team. They've got an exciting program ahead in the future. They're going to expand things. Bobby will do as many races as his Nextel Cup commitments will allow him this year, and that organization is very excited about the future. Brian?
Well, this organization definitely excited about the future down here. Jim Taffel, owner of Taffel Racing, getting behind the wheel of his Porsche. Charles Espenlaub just stepping out. Probably the best hope for this team with the problems of the 72 car. You know, the crew taking its time, making sure they get everything snugged up well down here. They don't cross-thread any more wheel nuts like they did on the 72. They had a little problem with the right rear, but they've got it on. Taffel getting behind the wheel, Espenlaub out, and they'll get this car back on track. They were running third in GT when they came to pit road.
Well, if they're to experience victory in the Rolex 24 this year, they have some tough competitors to beat, because the TPC organization, here it is. Oh, there's a stationary car in the bus stop.
That could have been catastrophic if they'd got together with the back of a parked car there.
That's Bob Gilbert in the 93. How close was that? The GT leader, Spencer Pumpelly, almost hit the Apple Motorsports 93 Porsche.
And it was sitting dead stationary. That would have been a huge impact. Well over 100 miles per hour as you're braking down there.
That was close.
I think the scariest moment in my entire racing career, 32 years, was here with a car that was stalled. It was at night, and it was facing the wrong way with the headlights out, and I never, ever saw it. I passed within like a quarter of an inch, and I'll never forget. I thought, oh, my God.
And there's the lucky man in the 36 Turbo Performance Centers. Porsche, the GT lead car. Almost had that #1 spot taken away. We've crossed the 100 lap mark already in the Rolex 24. And here's our second place GT car.
brand new
Speed
car.
Source RX-8. What a car it is, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's a good driver lineup with that, and it's a brand new race car, and everybody I've talked to says, you know what, this thing is right on the money.
Here's the 64 TRG Pontiac GTR. Let's have a listen. Oh, you should see how excited Dorsey is up here at the sound of that.
Two things you'd listen to right there. Listen to the throttle right here as he just blends it in a little at a time, not just smash it on. And that whine you hear, that's the gearbox, straight cut gears. That's what that little high is. Straight cut gears. No synchronizers here. Not flat through there, a little lifty here.
Jan Magnussen in the 64 TRG Pontiac GTO sits third in class behind the Mazda RX-8 and the Porsche of Spencer Pumpelly, on board with Danica Patrick in the Howard Boss Motorsports machine, and Danica sits inside the top 10. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Daytona. The leader is in. Justin Wilson brings in the number 60 Mike Shank racing car. Going to turn it over to his Roosport Champ Car teammate, AJ Allmendinger. What's remarkable is that the seat insert that AJ has is very tiny, which means that they can't really afford to have a big one in terms of his upper body being too close to the wheel. So it's Justin who's having to really adapt by having his legs way back, up around his ears almost, when he's driving the car. This car seems to be running well. We've had the problems with the 6 cars, still haven't determined what they are as they got the car back to the garage, some kind of gearbox driveline issue. But AJ Allmendinger said there's a lot of pressure on him. He says you really feel it when you have teammates, unlike when you're running single-seaters and there's just you out there. If you make a decision, you make a mistake, it's down on your back. He said, today I've got to realize that Oz and Mark Patterson are running for a championship here. He said, I will not crash this car. Let's see how he does.
Hey, Calvin, after you told me that story about when you did this event and you were in a compromised seating position, your arm went to sleep, I asked Justin Wilson about that and how many laps he had done continually in one stint. He had only done 10, and he said he didn't get any soreness or anything like that. I said, I'll be keen to see how you do after an hour or so.
Well, that's the key, Lee. That's right. During the course of these practice days here, they try and rotate the guys in as much as they can so they all get a feel for the car. Typically, the most you'll do is 8 to 10 laps. Normally, it's like 3 or 5 at the end of a session. So your seating position and everything, you say to the team, yeah, it feels good. But until you get a good hour underneath you, you really don't know for sure.
And I'll tell you what aggravates it even more than that is when you get out of the car at night and it's very, very cold. You've been sweating for quite a while, and you get into that very, very cold Florida air, and your muscles constrict and they tighten up, and you get stiff and sore.
What a superstar this young man is. Barber Dodge Pro Series, kicked it up to Atlantics. He won that championship in his first year. Rookie of the Year in Champ Car World Series the following year. And now he's on the podium in Champ Car World Series races, heading for his first win. And this is his very first race with a roof over his head. His first 24-hour, his first sports car race. And he's really looking forward to it. As we enjoy the action here, we'd like to say thank you to all of you who have emailed the Speed booth here. We're going to tackle as many of them as we can as we ride with Wayne Taylor and the SunTrust Pontiac Riley. Thanks to Bob Kohler from Golden, Colorado. Bob, email to you, Dorsey. During the first round of pit stops, it looked like many of the DP cars did not have exposed headlights. For night driving, do the teams have a daylight nose cover and a night nose cover that they switch, or are the actual lights just covered up during the daylight?
They have both, actually. It's a good question. Some teams will opt to run the covers, but of course they get sandblasted by all the debris on the racetrack. So usually they'll do cover during the day and then put clear plexiglass ones on at night. But they'll probably have 6 or so of those noses to use during the course of this event.
Quick one to deal with from Mike Egan. Mike, thanks for your email. He says, I'm stuck at work. How can I follow the race on my computer? Well, of course, you can come with us on speedtv.com or grandamerican.com for live timing. One final email, Dorsey. How in the world do they share pit boxes? How is it decided who is where? And that's from Kim and Darren in Athens, Georgia.
Well, only 16 of these teams have a pit to themselves. Those teams were the teams last year that were on the Pace Center program. What that means is that they entered and competed in every race of last year's season. They had first pick. The rest of the teams have to share.
Pretty cool incentive, isn't it? Reward those who are loyal to the series and commit to the series big time. You're looking at the race leading car, the RX.com Synergy Porsche Doran with Patrick Hulsman, and this is the car that's in pursuit. The defending champions, the SunTrust boys, with the team principal behind the wheel, Wayne Taylor. Yet to see Emmanuel Collard and Australian Ryan Briscoe. Their stints yet to come.
And this time of night becomes a little bit difficult because the sun starts to set. When you head down into that turn 1 area, the glare off this racetrack is pretty substantial.
Well, the guy who has just done a phenomenal job and took his car to the lead of this race is with Calvin Fish.
Okay, we're down here. Justin Wilson is just doing a track announce interview right now with JJ O'Malley. We're going to try and just listen in right now. Justin, we talked about the fact that your seating position is so compromised you only got 8 or 10 laps in a row during practice. How did it feel when you put a couple of stints underneath yourself?
It's a little bit harder than 10 laps, that's for sure. For the first part of my stint, the air hose came off my helmet, so you know, I just got hotter and hotter and hotter, and I'm searching around inside the cockpit, but I couldn't find it until on the second stint I finally managed to get plugged in under that safety car.
How much do you have to control yourself? You're used to running sprint flat-out races with Champ Car, Formula One. When you get in this form of racing, how much does the team have to control you and give you your pace, give you your lap time to make sure you're doing what you need to do for 24 hours?
Yeah, you're just taking care of the brakes. We're not steaming into the corners. We're rolling off the pedal, the throttle pedal early, just trying to let the car flow and try and time the traffic so you don't really have to stand on the brakes and lose momentum. And I was fortunate I was able to do quite well at that and just keep the car flowing.
Certainly during the test days, the practice days, we seem to see yellows every 5 minutes, people falling off the racetrack, making contact. During the race thus far, doesn't seem too bad. How is the traffic out there?
It's pretty good. Everyone seems to be a lot better than the test. They've listened to the officials beforehand, so everyone's paying attention. Still early in the race, so we've got a long way to go, and hopefully everyone can still pay attention in the middle of the night.
All right, mate, great job out there today.
Thanks very much.
Not only are Justin Wilson, AJ Allmendinger's very accomplished drivers, very talented drivers, but they're pretty cool teammates as well. They enjoy each other's company, they get on very well, they share the information needed, and we ask them to be a little bit serious for once. Take a look at this.
I don't think that's possible.
Come on, AJ, smile.
Hey, actually, make him dress up and do a runway show and he'll be serious. We had to do that in San Jose. I've never seen this guy so off. I seen him finish last, he was happier about it.
Why, what happened? It was like a fashion show?
Yeah, it was a fashion show that Champ Car had like 8 of us drivers do at San Jose. And this guy, you know Dan well, he's not about the runway show. Is that getting on TV?
That'll be like, I just don't have the white shoes, man.
Yeah, I know. Don't roll like that.
They truly are motorsports odd couple. Justin is still with us. Hi, Justin. Leigh Diffey in the speed booth. Dorsey Schroeder's with us as well. You're not a big fan of fashion, mate? Got a little audio issue there.
I'll put mine in, guys.
Yeah, I can't believe you actually got the picture for that. So you guys. Yeah, but it's not quite my cup of tea, but you've got to take the rough with the smooth.
Well, we've got to keep everyone entertained. It's a long day. We've got to keep your teammates. You've got to keep us. We've got to keep the viewers entertained.
Yeah, you do a good job of that anyway, Leigh.
Justin, have you had to pad up your knees for hitting on the underneath of the dash? If you're wearing any rubber taped to your suit or anything to get you through these night driving stints?
No, it's I haven't had to do anything. The car has already got padding on the steering column, and actually that's the worst part. Under those caution flags, going around the banking here, the car's really leaned over, and my leg was resting on the steering column, which isn't too comfortable, but at speed, you're usually pressing hard on one of the pedals.
Justin, talk about what racing in America means to you, because America's really been the lifeline for your career after the Formula One came to a kind of to a T-juncture, if you wish. You had the F3000 days where you were champion, you moved on to F1, but America really resurrected your career, didn't it? You enjoy racing here?
Yeah, I love racing here, and you know, the Formula One side was great, but you know, for various reasons I wasn't able to continue, and I felt a little bit disappointed with that, but you have to just get on and move on, and I felt at that point Champ Car was going through a lull, but you know, I really believed in the three owners could take it back to what we all know it can be, and you know, it's been a great move, and you know, to complement that, coming here to do Daytona, it's been great, and you know, I really enjoy taking part in these kind of events. It's a good atmosphere, and you know, you also learn to drive a little bit more controlled rather than flat out like in a sprint race.
As we're watching AJ Allmendinger, let me tell the people at home some of the things that's going on. Right here, that's a drink hose that's supplying the water, the nourishment. This is just a bungee cord, if you will. It's surgical tubing. When you take the seatbelts off, it pulls them out of the way. These are tightening straps that the driver can grab onto. Now, up on top of his helmet, you can't see it, but right up on the top is the hose that Justin was talking about that came off. Now, that's an air conditioning hose that is the only source of clean, cold air that comes in that cockpit. So there's a lot more to do than just take and put the seat insert in. You have to hook all these other systems up as well. That thing is on the backside of the helmet right up here. You really can't see the hose. His might be on the side, actually.
Justin Wilson, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck for the rest of the race. So far, so good.
Thanks very much, guys. Hopefully we'll see you at the end.
We look forward to talking with Justin later. Let's go back up front. Here it is, the RX.com Porsche Doran. Patrick Hulsman on board. Former Porsche guru and a very talented guy. Physically a very big man in the car with the two slightly framed Frizzell brothers from Hawaii, but this car is quick.
It is hard for a tall guy to get in these cars and be comfortable, because either your arms are too close to the steering wheel, your legs are too far away. You're always in a compromising situation when you're with the drivers of different sizes.
Less than a second between these two. This is first and second for the Rolex 24. The Porsche Doran versus the Pontiac Riley. Wayne Taylor enjoying a very strong run at the moment after copping somewhat of a knockback, as Bob and David and Dorsey mentioned earlier during qualifying, that technical infraction that sent them back, but then they've forced their way through the field from 27th on the grid to second in this motor race. And Wayne Taylor, who has enjoyed victory in this event in the championship in World Sports Car Racing, he's got one thing left on his list. His two young sons race go-karts, and Wayne said he's going to stick around in competitive racing until he can do this event with his eldest son. At the moment, he's fixed on Patrick Hulsman and wants the lead of this race. David Donahue in the Brumos Porsche is reeling them in as well. Stick around. On February 22nd, the Hit Series Pinks returns to speed. Watch as egos, pride and titles go on the line. Feel the raw emotion, experience the heartache, and revel in the thrill of victory. No lights, no tricks. The premise is real simple. Lose the race, lose your ride. Pinks Season 2 premieres February 22, right here on Speed. Welcome back, everyone. Our live and exclusive coverage continues of the Rolex 24 at Daytona. And this is the Synergy Porsche Doran. This car has just pitted, driver change. Patrick Hulsman has stepped from the car, and Bert Frizzell back on board. New race leader is Wayne Taylor for SunTrust Racing from David Donahue, and then Butch Leitzinger. They're the top three. And then Mario Haberfeld for Lowe's Fernando's Racing in the top four. That's a great accomplishment for that brand new team at such an early stage. But let's hear from the man who has just stepped from this car.
Lee, I'm down here with Patrick Hulsman. Patrick, it's been 5 years since you've been at Daytona. You've got to be pretty excited not only to be back, but to be leading this race.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, 5 years ago, I led the race with Darren Lowe here for the same team, and we were leading by 12 laps, and then the engine went early in the morning, so hope we do better this year, but the RX.com car is going perfectly, and you can see how strong his Porsche engine is on the straight. It's easy to drive. We run a lot of downforce, so the tires stay on very well, and it's easy to do that pace. It was good fun with the SunTrust car. I don't know who was in. It was a nice battle. It was a little bit tough, but good one.
Now, this is your first go in a Daytona prototype. What do you think?
It's good. I mean, I had one going at VIR 2 years ago in the Picchio, and the Picchio wasn't the best kind of car, I would say so. So coming into the Doran chassis is like going from hell to heaven, to be honest. And it's a good package. It's a good package. It's good fun. The car turns in very well. It's a little bit like a DTM car where it used to be, so good fun.
Cal?
Race leader is in, Chris. Number 10 car driven by Wayne Taylor. He looks a little pooped when he jumped out of the car there. He's asking for a drink, so seen a lot of these cockpit temperatures really getting to the driving this afternoon. It's going to be Emmanuel Collard getting in. These guys are the defending champions, of course. This is a brand new race car. This is not the chassis that they won the championship with last year. Brand new race car. One of the most significant differences is, of course, they have a bit of a weight penalty this year. 75 pounds more on that car than before. Good clean start by the SunTrust boys.
The 34-year-old Frenchman, very unassuming character, but a very fast race driver. And there is the team principal, Wayne Taylor. His first stint is over, and a successful one. To hand the car over to Collard, coming into the pits in the #1 position. Nice job. Leitzinger has brought the 4. Howard Boss Motorsports, Crawford in, and Tony Stewart climbs aboard for his first stint. Will it be third time lucky? It's his 4th Rolex 24. Chris, tell us more.
Leigh, Tony Stewart is getting in the 4 car for the first time today, so this team has struggled in the early going of this race, but it's starting to turn around for him. And you know, Stewart hasn't had many laps here this weekend, but he's pretty excited to get behind the car right now. Right now, they've already got the tires done, fueling up, and getting Tony buckled in.
And he loves this challenge. Absolutely loves this challenge. The 2-time Nextel Cup champion. And the past 12 months have been quite eventful. He crams in as much racing as possible. And let's get it now to the SunTrust team. Cal is with Wayne Taylor.
Wayne, great stint there, mate. You took the car to the lead. Things seems to be coming your way after the problems in qualifying.
Yeah, when I got the car from Max, the first half of the session, I was losing a second a lap on everybody. We had massive oversteer. And it seems as the brake bias had turned to the back. So I spent most of the session balancing it. But I think on the second stint, I got a set of tires that were better than the previous ones. And the car was really good, you know. I was pushing, but you know, not 10/10s because you got a long way to go. I don't know if that was Bert or Frizzell in there, but he did a good job. Got too much bloody power.
On the back of your championship, obviously some nice awards, but one of the nice things is that you and Max Angelelli have been invited to the IROC series. This is the first time you'll drive a race car with the engine up front, right?
I'm going to look so stupid. I have no idea what this is going to be like. Everybody tells me it's fun. I think it's going to be fun for everybody else to be laughing at me. But it's an honor to go there.
All right, mate, well, best of luck. Let's go down to Chris with a 4 car.
Cal still down here with this Howard Boss machine. Tony Stewart still trying to get buckled in this car. Initially, they couldn't get the shoulder belts snapped in place, so that took quite a while. And finally, they got him in, but the belts weren't over the Hans device. So the official said, he can't get back out there. You guys got to get that fixed, get those belts up over the Hans device, and then get him on his way. And Stewart, still a little bit sore from the rib injury that he had just a couple weeks ago at the Chili Bowl. So these guys pushing and prodding to get him in that car. That probably didn't feel too good. And also the #2 machine, the Callaway Golf. Crawford in and Danica Patrick out. And it looks like Jan Lammer's getting back behind the wheel of this car. So this car running very well too.
That's frustrating for Tony Stewart and the Howard Boss Motorsports team. It is Jan Lammers behind the wheel of the 2. And as the Dutchman climbs aboard for the 2nd time today, Tony Stewart is out on the Daytona International Speedway road race circuit for his first time in the Rolex 24. We climb on board with Stewart. As we mentioned earlier, it has been an eventful 12-month period for Tony Stewart. Homestead last year. And then this at the Chili Bowl, this frightening looking flip. And Chris just mentioned the rib injury. He is still carrying that from that flip. And of course, the Pepsi 400 victory right here. He is in the time of his life in his racing career. And the 23 Alex Job Porsche's had a problem. And the Fernandez car.
It has no radiator. Look to the front. It will be completely out of coolant, or there's the coolant running out of it. That's going to make a slippery racetrack for people who don't know, and a lengthy repair for the people who do.
Mario Haberfeld looks at the monitor. Scott Sharp has just climbed on board that car. It was in the pits only moments ago, and it is Patrick Long behind the wheel of this car. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm with Mario Haberfeld now. He's just tuning his radio in. Mario, you just threw your hands up in the air. Did you see what happened there?
I don't know, I just saw that something happened and we lost the front body work. I think we were doing pretty good till then. We were up to P3 and looking for a good result. I mean, I don't know how bad it is now.
Well, we just see it coming in, Mario, on the screen there. Well, obviously you've got a lot of hard work to do now.
Well, it's not over yet. We still have 21 hours to go and we'll get back there.
Thank you very much.
Well, the thing is, look at all of the antifreeze. Look at all of the coolant coming out. It's going to be quite slippery all the way around. This car is going to take a long time to fix. It's not just the radiator. It's all the supports for the nose bracket, all of those brake hoses that cool the brakes down, and everything else electrical that hooks up the headlights, etc. All has to be repaired.
It was only moments ago we were saying what an accomplishment for this car to be up in fourth. And look at that. That's at high speed.
That's the kink on the infield. That's the fastest corner on the racetrack. And a big, you saw all the dirt up in the air as the front end dug in quite soundly and tore the whole front tray and everything off.
Did Scott Sharp do that all by himself? Was he assisted? It doesn't matter. That's the end result. And that's what the Fernandez team has to deal with. Behind the wall, no fooling about. Time is of the essence.
And look at all these people that are just wandering around out right in the way. And he can't be revving the engine to run the engine because it's overheating by now. 23's finally made it in with its problem.
Steve Miller, the team manager, will be assembling his guys to go to work on that car. And Pat Long is limping home, trying to get the Alex Job Porsche Crawford home. And look at this, Bert Frizzell was only just released from pit lane and now he is back. Andrew.
This is not good.
Yes, indeed. I'm just running up to the car, Lee. You know, I'm an old guy. It takes me a little while. I'm just having a look what the guys are diving into. Looks to me as if it might be something to do with the throttle linkage down here. Just get the camera around. Well, this is obviously a major setback for this car. Yeah, it's definitely something to do with the throttle linkage here.
Well, that throttle linkage, if you break the cable, if that's a cable, you know, it's they're going to have one. Usually there's one standing by as a spare in endurance racing. They just need to hook it back up. Don't know if that's the case here. I don't see it, but it's hard to tell.
And guess who is back up in the lead? It is the 19 Playboy Uniden car for Finlay Motorsports. Mimo Gidley, Michael McDowell, Alex Barron. They are back in the lead of this race. And that is frustrating. Here's the 11. Kyle Petty's on board. After Brian Tuttle and Boris Said have had their opening stints, it's time for Kyle to go around. It's about his 5th or 6th 24 hours, so he's got plenty of experience at the Rolex and thoroughly enjoys it.
But not so much in prototypes. He's done a lot of GT races. I'm sure he's enjoying this with the grip and so forth, that it has the advantage over the GT car.
This is the BMW powered Riley. This is the ex-Finlay car from last year. And Kyle getting into the rhythm in his opening stint. And that car at the moment sits 17th overall. Top GT car is still the 36 Popes Levitas Pumpelly machine, and that is 22nd overall. Time to visit the pits. Here's Chris with Danica.
Thanks, Lee. Danica, you just had your first stint of Rolex 24 competition. What'd you think?
Not too bad. You know, things change a lot out there, and it's not that much unlike an IndyCar race or something that I've done with long periods, that you have the tire span, you have the way the fuel feels, you have the way the track changes, and then you have all the invariables of everything else. So, I mean, you just don't, it's just a little bit different, that's all. It's not a big deal. You know, so I think the brakes are a little bit not quite as good as they were before. They're using them up. and the tires go off a little at the end, but, you know, that's what happens.
We talked to Justin Wilson for a while about the height difference between he and AJ Allmendinger. Kind of the same situation between you and Rusty. Any problems with you and your seating position?
Well, he has to twist the crotch strap a lot, and it was twisted for me, and I don't need it twisted. And then the lap belts, it took a while to get in the car because the lap belts have to be loosened because he can't loosen them enough on his own, so that takes time too. And he put a pad in the back of the seat, which moved my seat forward another inch, which, you know, when I'm measuring to be exact, like 13.5 inches from the wheel, and I'm 12.5, it's like, oh, wait, I can't see the dash. But it's not that big of a deal, you know. I think more than anything, I just couldn't really see all the dials and everything, so it's a good thing there was no problem.
Well, good luck out there. Sounds like we've got some action on the track.
Chris, we have Forrest Barber in the Feeds the Need, Kodak Easy Share car, and Alex Gurney.
Alex Gurney's car. This is at a high-speed part of the track. They've obviously made contact with another. Both cars badly damaged.
And
look at that.
It's actually Rocky Moran Jr. in the Gainsco car and Forrest Barber again, in a heavily damaged Doran.
The radiator laying on the ground. It's going to be a slippery racetrack.
Boy, oh boy. First of all, the Scott Sharp, Patrick Long incident, and now this, Forrest Barber and Rocky Moran Jr. That is a tough break for Rocky Moran, Chris.
Yeah, guys, these boys are going to be pushing it behind the wall to try and fix this car. It doesn't look like too much damage, you know, no suspension components look bent or broken, so it looks like they're just going to probably have to repair quite a bit of the front end where bodywork fits in, and then also the radiator cooling section. Interesting thing, you know, when they were pushing this car back, one of the crew members was actually riding on the splitter and pulling pieces apart as they were going down pit lane, so these guys trying not to waste any time at all.
It's so frustrating when you're driving a good race, staying out of trouble, and you get into a situation on this racetrack. There's a couple places where there's nowhere to hide. I mean, there's guardrails right and left, so you can't just turn and get out of the way.
Here is another look at that incident between Forrest Barber, Rocky Moran Jr.
Riding with the 4 here, and it's happening up in front of us as we speak.
On board with Tony Stewart. Dirt, dust flying everywhere. Tony didn't back off a whole lot.
Well, you can see also that he had the sun in his eyes, which makes it even harder to tell where those cars are.
And now the Gainsco Blackhawk crew go to work. Bob Stalling's men have got a big task ahead, and we've got plenty more coming up. Live here on Speed, we're taking you through right until 6 p.m. Eastern. Stay with us. Speed's coverage of the Rolex 24 at Daytona is brought to you by Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. Welcome back. Our live and exclusive coverage continues, and we ride with the Red Bull Brumos Porsche, currently 3rd placed. The combination of David Donahue, Darren Law, Sasha Masson, great trio of drivers. A heavily amended and improved car, aerodynamically and engine-wise, and they feel somewhat confident they've got a good, solid chance. Now, the 4 has just come into the pits, Dorsey.
Tony Stewart was called into the pits. They said this car was smoking badly. I don't see any smoke right here, and Chris Neville was down there.
Yeah, guys, during that last commercial there, Tony Stewart did bring the number 4 car into pit lane. The team really looked it over. They said they couldn't find anything, and Grand Am officials kind of looked at him and said, okay, well, we don't see any oil on the back either, so why don't you get back out on the racetrack? Also, while we were away, the 10 car came in with Emmanuel Collard behind the wheel. They are experiencing a little bit of electronics problem. They think it's in the steering wheel, so it was a pretty quick stop. They pulled the steering wheel out, put a new steering wheel in, put them back out on the racetrack.
Andrew?
Yeah, just an update on the 8 car. I suspected it was a throttle linkage problem, and I have confirmed with the team the throttle linkage was sticking, which is pretty unpleasant round here. So Let's get back to the booth.
Andrew, yeah, massive accident for the 10. The SunTrust Pontiac Riley has crashed with Emmanuel Collard behind the wheel and heavy damage to the front right.
Caution is out. There's a lot of damage to the front right of that car. Don't know yet what's gone there, but the yellow is out for the... Oh, he's had the 24 that's obviously been involved with the 10.
Jacob Shallett behind the wheel of that BMW, and you can see how heavy the contact has been.
I hate to say it, but that could be terminal. Certainly for the BMW it is. I don't know about the 10.
That is massive for the SunTrust car. After such positive opening stints from Max Angelelli and Wayne Taylor, Ryan Briscoe hasn't even got in this car yet, and this is the cause of our 4th full course yellow. And a massive contact there. Look at the front of that BMW.
There's Bill Riley, the designer, and he's running now, trying to have a look at things, see if he can do anything about this.
And look at Bill climbing on board that quad. He's going to head out there to assess the damage. And let's have a look at the replay. The incident that has taken the defending champions off track and caused this 4th yellow. Let's have a look at the replay.
On board the 10, Emmanuel Collard. Fastest part of the racetrack, and look at spin.
Well, that was the Rocky Moran incident all over again, wasn't it?
There was nothing to do there, and I don't think that car will, I don't know. They can fix that. That's a tough little booger.
That is the 2nd Matt Connolly Motorsports BMW. And they are checking on the welfare of Jacob Shallett. And there is a dejected
the camera's
Emmanuel Collard. That was a massive contact. And that is the
camera, of course, has been knocked off its mount and is laying sideways, and that's why he's looking like he's laying sideways.
And Collard doing the right thing, staying in the car so he can communicate with the team. And Chris is with Wayne Taylor, team principal.
Wayne, what is Manu saying over the radio?
Really not much. It looks like he was involved in an accident. We haven't seen the replay, so I have no idea. He just come in to change an ECU box. I really don't know.
Does he say the car can move, or is he just wanting to leave it there? Or?
No, he's staying inside. They're radioing him to stay inside, and I think a tow truck's going to bring him back in.
Okay, well, it looks like he had nowhere to go on that one, guys. And these boys trying to defend this win last year and their championship. Things aren't looking good.
No, that is a huge hit. I mean, an unbelievable over 100-mile-per-hour crash there. You can see the damage it's done to the BMW, which you would think in theory would be the more stout of the two, although carbon fiber race cars are pretty strong too.
Jacob Shallett is out of the car. He is okay. He's walking away. Now let's have a look.
And
another replay.
And a listen.
On board with Collard. Doesn't get any scarier than that.
That hurt my neck, my back, my head hurts, everything hurts.
That was a repeat of the Forrest Barber Rocky Moran incident, and again, Shallett in the Matt Connolly Motorsports BMW was moving far right to allow another car through. That was exactly the replay.
Now this car, you know, he's sitting in that car hoping that he can get it back out of there, or they can tow him back to the pits. It's the right thing to do. It's safer there than to get out right now. But if they can fix that, like I say, that's going to be an amazing feat, because that was just a brutal hit.
Wayne Taylor contemplating what can be done. Have a look at the Rolex clock in the top left. There's just under 20 hours left. Plenty of time, and anything can happen, as we've seen in these opening 4 hours. You are looking at a heavily damaged SunTrust Pontiac Riley with Emmanuel Collard behind the wheel. This car won the championship and this race, this classic race, 12 months ago. And their chances now, Dorsey, you have to say pretty slim.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. You know, they might be able to get this car back in the race, get what points they can, but their chances of winning, I think, are totally over.
And the same goes for this car here, whether they will be able to fix this BMW M3 for Matt Connolly Motorsports. It was heavy, heavy contact between the prototype and the GT car. And for this SunTrust team, the Florida-based team, the last 2 years here at Daytona International Speedway, the Rolex 24, they have seen the extremes of sports car racing.
Well, we've got a problem with the 10 car. This is the third place car in the hands of Max Angelelli. And a car that threatened for the win in this race is now third with what is reported to be a broken CV joint.
A scary moment for Emmanuel Collard. Andy Wallace back in front in the Howard Boss Motorsports Sitco Crawford. Who will do it here? Will it be Crawford on the left or will it be Riley on the right? Collard gets the run through traffic.
Victory for SunTrust Racing.
And this is what just happened to them before we went to the commercial break. That was ugly. And again, Emmanuel Collard, who's experienced so many highs and lows with the SunTrust team, this, unfortunately, is yet another low. I can tell you that the SunTrust team are on standby back in the garage. Chris, what do you have?
Lee, as soon as they saw that replay of the accident, the entire team came over to the garage and just started setting up. And what it really looks like in here is kind of like an emergency room in a hospital. These boys have kind of looked at the damage. They've set up all the tools they need. They think they've got all the pieces of the car that they need to replace. And all of these pieces are already assembled. So you see suspension components that are already put together. You see the front deck of the car. It's got the radiator. It's got the brake hoses already hooked up. These guys are ready for this car. Now, they might think they're out of contention for the win here today, but these guys have got to be thinking about the championship. And this is what they did well last year at Mid-Ohio. They had that massive fire in qualifying, essentially burned the car to the ground, but this team stayed up all night. They persevered, and they came out with, I think it was a second or third place finish there, and that's what really helped them in the championship. So these guys right now thinking about this championship, just wanting to get that car back out on the racetrack.
One of our Porsche keys to the race was preparation, and this is part of preparation. This is the preparation that is required to fix a crash right here.
The opening couple of hours may have been relatively incident-free, but it wasn't that long ago we had 13 cars on the lead lap. That is now down to 5. They are beating each other up here at Daytona. And there's the captain of the team, Wayne Taylor, guiding his men to fix that car and get it back out there.